Hello and welcome to the Bellcast, episode number 20.
22.
22. Kevin,
Amen.
are you fired up?
I'm fired up. How's it going?
Are you?
Yeah, I'm up.
You've had like one sip.
Yeah,
of that
one
cold
sip of
brew.
my coffee. Just wait till it gets about halfway. We'll be good to go.
You taking notes? You got your timer out.
Yeah, I'm good to go, man. Timing, filming, everything.
And our our guest names are similar to one of our hosts, but our co-host Mike is not here.
Not here today.
I got a call late last night.
Yeah, I didn't even get a call. So.
Yeah, he called me. I'm like,
least you rate.
I'm like,
I don't
I'm
rate.
like, you kids call people still?
Yeah.
But it's like that
Didn't
whole
get a
logic.
text?
It's the logic of dad needs the kid, so you text the kid, and the kid needs dad, he calls the dad.
Yeah, you call Lorenzo.
I don't want to sound weird. I'm not Mike's dad by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, he called and he said that, he had to go up to New York City
Yeah,
at 8 a.m. He was there yesterday at 8 a.m. and then today, and I'm like, Mike, can they like give you a break and like don't they realize that you're driving? Like, can you like? And he's like, no.
I'm sure we could chat about it in a minute or two, but yeah, these early morning meetings, in the city, everyone wants them. So.
And not Philadelphia.
Yes.
Just
The city.
The worst city with the worst fans of the world. The
Go
Dread,
Mets! Go Mets!
the Eagles, the Flyers, I can't even say the damn teams. All right, let's welcome our guest. I can't even say it. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What's going on, guys?
All right,
How are you?
get that volume in there.
Yeah, we're getting it. It'll come up. I'm gonna steal some of Kevin's coffee.
You can steal some of Kevin's comments. Okay, and we have your partner in crime over here, Mike, who doesn't even have a mic because he doesn't need one.
Yeah, that's right.
Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. You guys are in the collab, correct? The
That's
sardine
right.
can version of the collab.
That's
correct.
right.
And now, today, we're in the beautiful collab of NPZ.
Yeah.
Pal was gonna kill me.
Yeah,
I was
it's the
screwed.
Design Lab. It's MPC Studio as well.
Yes.
Their little design.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
My text messages go off.
Of course.
Like every fucking episode does. But yes. Mike, how long, what's the name of the company?
Name of the company is the LVE Group. Luzio versus Everybody Group.
Okay, not too much rage in the name. Okay.
Always wonder what the name's.
Sorry.
the
Now
LVE
you
stood
know.
for. Now we know.
The name of my company is Screaming Lunatic, so you know.
There we go.
I just need to
Perfect.
say
So
that.
fitting. Yeah.
Now, we won't argue about the Terps because you are a Maryland.
I am.
Your whole world in there is Maryland.
Everything is Maryland for me.
I went
Absolutely.
right to it.
Where'd you go to school?
I got kicked out of William Patterson.
Oh.
I got kicked out of Bergen Community.
Wait, is William Patterson still at school?
It's a university now. It's a university. It is a university. Yes, it is.
Yeah, William Patterson University. That is correct.
He was proudly kicked out of William Patterson University.
Now
For
I-
what? For what? Not doing well. Grades?
Just doing nothing that I should have done.
Got it.
No, I grew up a Penn State fan.
Oh.
On the college side, and on the football side, on the basketball side, Hoyas fan. But no, I have no ill will towards the Maryland.
Well,
Boomer
I have
Esiason and
tons. Boomer's buddy of mine. He's master in Super Coffee. We're going to plug something here, but
There you go.
Penn State
Yes.
was the school I wanted to go to, without question. Wanted to go there, that was it. I applied, they said, you gotta go to Altoona campus for a year before you get the main campus. So now when I write every check to University of Maryland now, when my wife and I have an endowment, I send back, right in the bottom left, FPSU.
The FBS.
So I hate Penn State.
I can understand. I
Because they
can-
sent me to Altoona.
How good is word? Altoona campus.
Dan,
Yeah.
you're not in the spotlight as much, so let's spotlight you for a couple of minutes.
Go ahead.
What the heck do you do at LVE?
A lot of things, but the main gist of it is I work on Mike's personal brand, and we kind of make him look good on social media.
Okay.
And through that, we get leads for our investments and our consulting opportunities.
Okay, so business consulting, correct? Right?
Yep.
Okay, let me just shut my cell phone off because the first time is funny, the second time is annoying. Yeah, I'm never good at this. Okay, and how long have you been working for Mike?
2 years now.
2 years?
Yep, just a little over 2 years.
Where did you go to college?
I went to the
Or are
University
you still in
of Maryland.
college?
What's high school?
Where'd you go?
No.
Oh, you're still in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just got back from the prom. It was amazing. Did not get lucky though.
Better look next year.
You went to Maryland?
Yes, went to UMD as well.
So was that like a, did you know, like?
Everybody who works in my company.
No, I noticed that, but like when you saw it on the resume or whatever,
Except Mom.
did that help or did you know already?
So the story with Dan is, and I've said it a bunch of times, but I'll say it again. I went to a golf outing at Beacon Hill here in Monmouth County, and I drive in with my Porsche, and in the back seat of my Porsche is my bag, my golf bag, and it's Terps, red, everything I do is Maryland. And Dan is getting the clubs out and goes, hey, did you happen to go to Maryland? I said, Yeah, dipshit, we gave it away, right? So,
You could have been a proud father. I don't know. Like,
wow, fuck.
Yeah, there you
Dad,
go.
take it easy. Take
Yeah.
it easy. From the guy who's barely shaving.
Yeah.
So, and I said, yes. I said, yes, we gave it away. And Dan had recently graduated in Maryland, was a journalism major. My business partner, also obviously a Terp, was a journalism major. I said, what are you doing now? We got to talking, and he interned for me for about a year, and then we brought him on full time. He's great. It's been a tremendous asset it's really smart for me bringing on a millennial because that's his game. I'm not
Yeah.
a social media guy. He understands it more than we do because that's what he does. You know, he Snapchats and IG stories and stuff like that.
Well, I would argue I know it better, but that's okay.
no, I would argue that you do too.
Yeah, I do know it pretty well, but
We
I
should
do it
share
because
some
I
knowledge
have to.
sometime, you
If it
know.
was up to me, I would have a flip phone. Like that's how I would make it.
Collab is short for collaboration, so we should
Yes,
get
this is
together.
true.
Teach
This
me
is
your
true.
ways.
This is true. Mike,
Good point by the young man.
I've told you, if you let him talk once in a while,
He makes about one every 6 months.
Okay, actually, Mike, see you later. We don't need your money. Fine.
5.5 months.
Mike, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Monmouth County. I grew up in Madawan, went to Madawan Regional High School. So
Okay.
I grew up here.
Went to Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you study at Maryland?
I was a political science major, and then So
Weren't
I
we
did-
all?
Yeah, I did 0 with my major.
Okay, 0. And so what was your work like when you got out of college?
Yeah, so when I got out of school, it was .com, right? So I'll be 43. It was that .com boom, late 90s, you know. I was in Northern Virginia area, right? That's where a ton of that .com was happening. Started working for a .com, watched the company go public, was employee 13, watched it go to 1,000, watched, you know, really the not appropriate way to build a business. But listen, everyone was taking money, everyone was paper millionaires at the time. But it was a really good learning experience for me. I was a sales guy, I was employee 13, saw it go to 1,000, saw the company go public, saw them not take an offer for $800 million, and saw that stock go to 10 cents, right, from $37. But that was 95% of what was happening in Silicon Valley and in Northern Virginia. That was it. But for me, it was 4 or 5 years of really learning a good lesson. I never had an idea of being an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, I watched this company kind of grow, and I watched 90% of the bad things they did, which I think most people learned really more from the bad. And that was it. I came out, once the .com bubble really burst, I said, oh my God, I gotta get a real job. And I went to work for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, got back to New York City, where I'm obviously New York Met, was working in the city, and I worked for them for a couple years, and then I had an epiphany, someone had an epiphany and came to me.
You worked for the Mets or the Metropolitan?
No, I worked for Sprint, actually.
Oh, okay. No, I was trying to
But again, big company, it was good for me, right? I worked for a small startup, and then I went to a big company, so it was good. I had that dichotomy between the two, and I learned again a lot.
Yeah.
Not what to do, working for a huge organization. So that was where I was until I started my first company.
Okay. So how did the company now come to play? Did you think that, was it something else when it first started out?
Yeah, so in 2004, I started a company called IRG, Industry Retail Group. And I won't bore everyone with the details because I'm not a technologist, but I bootstrapped it. I surrounded myself with a really...
You also don't stay still. Focus on the mic.
Yeah. We bootstrapped the business, started in 2004, and grew it. And by 2016, it was my business. I was a majority shareholder, and we sold it for $60 million. So it was like, oh shit, this is cool. I'm now rich, and I had no idea how I did it, right? And when I started the LVE Group, it was I don't have to work anymore, but I'm like 39 years old at the time, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with myself? I buy nice jackets, and glasses, and shoes. But after that,
Travel to Maryland every Saturday?
Travel to Maryland.
Go walk down your living room.
No,
You got nowhere else to go.
No, you know what it was? I sold the company because my kids were young, and I could see myself, I was never home. Is that me? You can turn it off. Here, just turn it off. It's not the bad ring, so we're good. So I just...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a raw, uncut version of the podcast, like all of them are.
Always is.
Thank you. Continue. Yes, Mike. Go ahead.
No, so once I sold the business, it was like I had to, because I wasn't seeing my kids. I had 3 kids at the time. They were 5'5", and newborn. And I said, look.
Twins?
I have twins, boy-girl twins, and then a daughter. And I said, look, I'm never home. I said, this is crazy. I can sell this business for a lot of money. And I said, how much money do you need? I had no grandiose ideas of being Jeff Bezos, right? I was like, I've got enough money here where I can be comfortable, which I did. And we sold it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna focus on coaching all my kids' teams, which I do, right, to this day. And I'm gonna start a really cool little investment company, an angel investment company, where we put dry powder behind businesses, make them grow. I mean, he saw me this morning, I was on the phone with the CEO of Pepsi, because we got an investment that's having a little bit of an issue. And I said, hey, let me call Al up. He's just left as being the CEO of Pepsi. I said, let me call Al. I mean, and it's great. We have a fun time. Dan does a great job of making me look half good. surround myself with other terps. So it's fun. And
But
friends.
a red Porsche?
What?
A red Porsche?
What do I have now? I have a white Porsche.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Well,
the
it's a little
Porsche,
better.
the stigma of the Porsche is you get the midlife crisis.
No.
So you went to white, so I'm happy about
I started with black, then I went
Okay.
to silver,
Uh-huh.
now I'm on white.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
But you had the red for a while for this.
No, I didn't have a red Porsche.
Oh, I thought you said red Porsche.
No, the
didn't you?
bag.
What do you
The,
say?
No, the red
Oh,
bag.
I'm like, oh, red Porsche?
No,
30? Like,
no. Although I did want to get.
No,
Let's talk
stop
about
it.
it.
No.
don't do
Every color but red. Okay, so the company as it exists now,
Yeah.
couple years.
Yeah, just a couple years. Yeah.
What's like, not the elevator pitch. I hate that term, but
Yeah.
well, the elevator pitch.
The elevator pitch is this. There's a ton of companies out there right now that are doing, $1 million, $2, $3, $4 million in revenue. But in order to get to that next level, a lot of times you got to take capital in, and you got to take strategic outside capital from strategic investors like me, someone who's already done it. There's a lot of guys in Wall Street who can hand over $50,000, $100,000 check. We can hand over a $100,000 check, $250,000 check, and then we're jumping in and helping you figure out how to take that $3 million company and take it to a $30 million company or a $50 million company. And it's fun. And all we do is, all I'm basically doing is putting some parental guidance around those people because I've done it. So when an entrepreneur's sitting with me, it's not like sitting with somebody who's is a hedge fund guy. You're sitting with a guy who's been through the trials and tribulations, who was eating, ramen noodles in 2004 trying to make it happen, who didn't take a salary for 2 years, who had no money. So like people were like, well, in 2004, what was your salary? And I said, what? Zero. I didn't have any customers. So I know where they've been, and they can call me as a mentor. They can call me to say advice on this. And again, no disrespect for the guy who's in Manhattan, is a hedge fund guy who makes $2 million a year. At the end of the day, that's what they know. I know how to grow businesses, and we have fun with it. So we hedge our bets. We're going to win some, and we're going to lose some. But we've got some really great investments now. We just got into another investment, CBD investment. So all fun, man. All good stuff.
I was going to say, tell us a little bit about, the types of companies you guys go after, because you're probably strategic in what you do.
I'm not.
No?
So that's funny. Most people ask me, because I grew a technology business, do you invest in technology companies? And the answer is I will, but you know what's really cool?
Not
I found?
fun.
It's
And a lot of risk and eats up money real quick.
real quick, and it's not as fun. So I've kind of gotten into this little bit of a product game, like where people deliver products, which is interesting. You go over to our office, there's cookies, there's drinks, there's coffee, because people find us via social,
Right.
or via my network, or via our network, I should say, and they send us stuff, and I'm like, okay, let me look at this. How first off, products gotta, like I came in with an umbrella today. What's the name of the company we're looking
Weatherman umbrella.
which we have not invested in, called Weatherman Umbrella, come up with by the chief meteorologist of Fox News. They're doing $2 million in sales, but it's an expensive umbrella. However, I said, how's the umbrella? It's the greatest fucking umbrella ever. It's 70 mile per hour winds. You put this thing up, it's not flowing all around. It's heavy. It's got a chip in it. Anything that I can look at and say, okay, how can I activate my network and figure out how we take this thing from point A to point B? And sometimes we're not going to be able to do it. So the investment's got to be something that we like. So if it's a food or a drink or whatever, we got to eat it. And everyone's like, I don't really like it. I'm like, fucking pass. Like, I'm not going to invest in something that isn't practical. It's got to be practical. Like, I have a good buddy of mine, Jason Cohen, is the CEO of Halen Brands. He's Skinny Pop. He just sold Core Water for $500 million. Also a Terp. Also on the board of trustees in Maryland. Great guy. He said the days of investing in, if you guys remember, and we're a little bit older, like when there was healthy food.
Who'd you point to when you said we?
No,
You included him, it ain't him. It's just you and him.
That healthy food used to taste like shit. People are like, I'm going to eat it because it's no sugar and this and that. Now everything tastes good. Like everything tastes good, and you're like gluten-free, sugar-free. You're like, how the fuck is that possible?
Yeah, there's no excuse.
Did you invest in Vizio?
Huh?
Did you ever invest in Vizio?
Vizio,
I saw Dan walk out with 382-inch screen.
yeah. He's a kid from Middletown. I can
Okay,
explain it.
all right. Just making.
No, but it's just fun. We have fun with it, man. Like people ask me, well, you got to invest in marijuana. It's so hot. I go, listen, here's my investment strategy as it relates to CBD, marijuana, hemp, all that stuff. It's the same as the .com boom. And this is how I tell investors this. In the late 90s, everybody was a freaking .com, and everyone was throwing money at these companies. Only 5% of them made it. So I'm not that smart to know what wheat field in the middle of New Jersey or Ohio. They're like, you got to invest in Canada. It's amazing. You're like, I don't know of a wheat field. I should probably smoke weed, but it would help. I'd be the first guy to get a card.
Yeah,
At the end of the day.
I'm staying real quiet right now.
Just thinking about that
yes.
way over. We should start.
Yeah. I'm not commenting. The camera's pointing right at me. Yes. Dan, speaking of weed, no. So Your day-to-day, right, for the most part, Monday
Yeah.
through whenever?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm the daily presence.
Give me a little bit about your day. Like, I know you talked about providing the content on a social media brand, but are you involved with any of the sales meetings or any of that type of stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm basically Mike's shadow.
Yeah.
So, anything that he's walking into, usually I either walk into it with him or we're on the phone together. Obviously, there's, different variances of calls where we also have a creative director, Mike's business partner, Chrissy Tewart, who
You don't have to
I
look
work-
at him. You're allowed to say whatever you want.
I work closely with. So my day-to-day in here is a mix of creating content and, kind of piggybacking on a lot of the investment meetings. I'll take some of those up front if, to vet them at a high level
Sure.
before we jump in there. But to add on to what you were saying before, we might not invest in any specific industry, but we do have guidelines kind of horizontally that we go after.
Okay.
So, we look at companies that are doing 1 to 5 in revenue, $1 million in revenue.
Okay.
We look at so we do have a little bit of a horizontal, that we'll look at. We won't look at later stage or pre-revenue.
But the coolest thing on our bullet points on our list, which
This is gonna be a Terps thing again?
no, it's not. But
Founder must be a Terp.
We have 11 things, guidelines, right? Where we say, and look, sometimes you can fall outside of them a little bit if you
Yeah.
really get wowed by something. But the last one, there's an asterisk at the bottom that says, have to be able to have a drink with the founder. Meaning, if I'm going to invest in you or in this person, I want to like the founder. Like, I don't want some dipshit that he's like, oh, I'm the smartest guy in the room. And I'm like, then fuck you, I don't need you. Like, I'm going to be with you, stuck to you for the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to call me for advice. If you're a jerk, or guy or girl, I don't want to hang out. I want to be able to have a drink with you and figure out what's going on with the business, good, bad, or indifferent.
You want a partner. You want somebody you can.
Big time, big time. Look, I'm going to be...
We should change the asterisk to a drink or a,
Yeah.
Or CBD.
just say it, Got one? Do you have one?
Well, so you guys have kind of also, as an area of your business, gone into personal branding, and so how do you transition from kind of an angel investors to working on brands?
Yeah, so we don't work on other companies' brands. Certainly, if one of our investments comes to us and says, "Hey, we would love your high-level consultancy on X, Y, or Z with social media," we're happy to give it. But we're typically not working with other companies or executives on their personal.
But we're creating, some of the companies we invest in, or some of the companies we don't invest in, we'll create content for and put them out via Instagram. And people are like, oh, so you invest in that company? I'm like, no, I put it out on social. Let's see what the feedback we get. Let's see if people are interested. So we've done a lot of content pieces with
Content you're testing.
Yeah, of course. And then there's content that we take, and I'm like, oh shit, I really like this investment. I don't want to release this content because then maybe, so I still need to vet it. Look, I'm selfish, right? This is a for-profit. This is a not-for-profit.
I thought you were until and then you told me you didn't have a red Porsche, so now I don't think that's
Profit may not be that great.
Is there a company that you can think of that you're like, wow, I really missed the boat on that one? That is
Without question. And I won't go too deep into it, but at the end of the day, I got pulled into invest. And listen, the beauty of what I'm doing now is I'm getting better at it. Like it's with anything, right? It's trial and error, right? And I thought it was going to be great coming out of the bat, picking winners, and they're like, okay, wait, hold on. And I fell in love with a celebrity investment. I got someone who came to me, and look, I'm not knocking the celebrity, the person who came, and I won't get into it, but I get on the phone, and this is a celebrity that everybody knows. Everybody knows. And I get on the phone, and they get on the phone, and I'm my typical self, and I make fun of them because I want to bring the call. Let's go. I get it that you're, every girl loves you, but at the end of the day, I always said,
Bring it down a peg. So
it's still-
talk to me on my
Kevin,
level.
let him talk. He will say the name. Just let him freaking talk.
This is Howard Stern interviewing, right? Until I see someone walk on water or part a sea, we're all the same, okay, right? We all got the same problems at home, wife, girlfriend, kids, whatever, dad, shaving issues, whatever that is, or not lack thereof.
Yeah, this seems to be a thing behind this.
It is.
Okay.
He just started wearing deodorant.
Okay.
So I had to tell him the other day, it's time.
All right.
Everybody's the same, but I got on this call and I said, oh, cool, this is a big Hollywood person. I said, and we didn't go too deep. I think we went 50,000, but the thing was gotten within 4 months. And I said to myself, look, that was me learning. It was a $50,000 learn. Don't make that mistake again and get sucked into that celebrity world. And I actually had someone call me with a big NFL player and said, you got to go in this investment. Let me get this guy on the phone. I'm like, no, don't need to talk to him because I don't need him going, hey, bring it down to the game. You can stand on the field. I'm like, that's not going to make me any money. Does that make sense?
Well, unless he was a former Terp.
That's
going
true.
back to. But when you said it was gone in 4 months, what was gone?
The investment, it was just within 4 to 5 months when they came back and said, look, we need more money. And you're like, No, because
Did they not use it well? Did they just make honest mistakes?
you know what? Go ahead. You
Well, I mean, you had more insight than I did, but it just seemed like they ran out of runway.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, and I think at the end of the day, what happens is a lot of look, and I'm not saying this is in all cases, but sometimes these celebrities, I think that because they're a celebrity, it's gonna go. Like it's gonna go because guy or girl, is behind this. And at the end of the day, if the product sucks, just because you're behind that product, it doesn't mean it's going to go.
Well, if it was especially if it was anywhere in the cosmetics world, that stuff can be hit or miss real quick. And you're not a Kardashian where you can drop her makeup stuff, but if it's a physical product, you can always change things. But I think if you're talking about stuff that is a one-time thing, or makeup and fashion, whatever it is, in their head, a celebrity may think this is great, but in reality, because they live in a bubble, and everybody tells them it's great.
Right. A lot of yes people.
Right.
And I'm not. And by the way,
that's not a bad thing.
I'm not knocking this. The person's a really, really nice person, but at the end of the day, could not make it go. And it's like, all right, you know what? But for me, that was a kick in the ass. I learned, and it's like part of our guidelines. Like we really got to vet these things. We'll make mistakes. The beauty of investing in companies is you only got to only hit on 1 out of 10. Right?
That's what I was going to ask you next. And maybe you haven't yet, but has there been one where you're like, we'll take a flyer on it, and you're like, holy shit, this is my golden parachute? So
one of the first investments that we made, and I'll give a plug, but they don't need a plug because they're crushing it right now. It was a company called Super Coffee, right? So Super Coffee was I liked it for multiple reasons, but here's some of the reasons why. Here's these 3 brothers, 26, 25, 24. I'm screwing up their ages, but they're real close in age. Ivy League guys. Division I athletes, Georgetown, UPenn,
Georgetown, Philadelphia University, and Colgate.
Hoyas, I like it already.
There you go. And he played football there, Jimmy D, CEO. And I meet these guys, and I'm like, whoa, like they were stratospheres ahead of me when I was 20. Yeah, because I was still figuring it out and drinking and going out in Jersey City, Hoboken, and whatever. Like they were way ahead of me.
Cadillac bar and boo-boos.
Yes, that's right. Correct. That's right. Madison's on 13.
No.
So they were light years ahead, and they came to me, or the deal came to me, and it was an alternative to Frappuccino. And I said, well, bottled coffee. Okay, I don't drink coffee, nor should I ever. I've never had any. And he said, well, what percent of bottled coffee does Starbucks Frappuccino control? He's like, 94%. And I go, what's the problem with it? He goes, 400 calories, 8 grams of sugar. So shit.
And they kill their beans.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. These were athletes who said to themselves, at 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm training, I don't want hot coffee, but I need some caffeine, and there's nothing out there. So they created this basically in their dorm room, the one brother, brought it to his other brothers. He drops out of school. Here they are. I get an opportunity to jump in and invest. I always want to invest in the jockey. These jockeys were great. I saw the market. There's a white space. There's a disruption in the market they can make. And also, my background is retail. So I know the folks at big retailers that I can introduce them to. They're going to have to sell themselves. So we went in. I brought a couple friends in, like less money than I did, like friends local. I said, these guys are going to go. And when we popped in, they were doing about $1.5 million in sales 2 years ago. They're going to do 30 this year, and we own a percentage of that.
Well, and the markup on that stuff, it's fantastic. Right?
And these guys, my guess is if they keep going the route they were, they'll get to $60 million in sales in the next couple of years, and they'll sell that company for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Are they Jersey guys?
They are DC, New York guys. But listen, tremendous. So again, find the jockey, find the white space, where it's at, and look, we're going to lose, but that one, we're going to crush it on. So when you look at a company like that and say, okay, I've lost here on a 50 or 100,000, you're like, that's all right, that's okay, but bet on the right one and win, it's going to be gold. And we've bet on a couple that are doing fantastic. We just went on a CBD drink, which I can't talk about it, and I can't release it for a lot of reasons, but it's phenomenal. No, but it's phenomenal. We'll be drinking it later. No, some cool stuff.
Okay. How do you handle the loss?
Yeah, so here's the funny thing. So I handle the loss the same way when I ran my business. I've always been somebody who's very, I think for anybody in business this is important. And I tell people this, and one of the reasons I like having Dan around is, I want to tutor this guy. 5-7 years he's going to do his own thing. I know that, but I want him to come out when he's 29 years old and be like, yo, I am so ready to rock and roll. I never get too high, and I never get too low. So if I have a huge win, like I think my boys at Super Coffee are going to crush it, but I'm not like, wow, my God, we're going to make millions. It's not like that. It's like, hey, let them do their thing. Let me help them where I can.
Which your personality does not
You're right.
fall in line with.
But now I never get too low, right? So listen, I got kicked in the teeth many more times when I was running my first company than I lost more than I won. But you know what? I got to be able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say to myself, I did everything I possibly could to secure this deal, to retain this business, but you know what? I just couldn't get it. And you know what? It is what it is. And even when I sold the business in 13, and we just did a piece on it on social media, where Chris is working on it right now, where it's like, it's August 15th of 2013. The wire's coming. You're about to be wealthy. You're clicking on the Bank of America.
Yeah.
You're like, oh
Yeah.
it hit.
Yeah.
I got high for about an hour. Said to my wife in 13, I said, okay, we're good. What was I doing on August 16th? Back to work. I'm like, okay, now it's just we're just in a different zip code. I mean, that's it. So I never get too high, I never get too low. So on the flyer that we lost with the celebrity, it's like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. I learned a lesson there, right? And if we lose here, it's all life lessons, man. So I never get too high or too low. And what I'm never going to do is, I'm not this entrepreneur who's going to be like, I've got X million dollars in the bank, I'm going to risk it all. No chance. I'm going to risk little pieces that I know it's okay, whether it's 6 figures, maybe it's up to 250. I'm not going to invest $3 million in something, because you know what? I got one chance in my life to have money, and I'm going to stay that way, right? I'm very conservative as it relates to that, and I want my family to be taken care of forever.
So speaking of lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys put a lot of content out there, you advise, things like that. We're in the collab here at Bellworks. We've got a lot of budding entrepreneurs,
Yep.
people with small companies.
Yep.
Best piece of advice for any of them, here in the building, if they're listening to this, about growing their company.
Just listen, it's all about relationships and collaboration. That's it. Period. The end. Done. I've done everything in my career to never burn a bridge and never screw anybody over. Look, there's plenty of people who probably don't like me and plenty of people I don't like, but at the end of the day, I never screw anyone over. Everything is about relationships. We have a distressed brand right now that we're invested in. My relationship with the former CEO of Pepsi, I call him up, I said, what do you do? What do you do here to help? And why? Because he's got a respect for me, I have a respect for him. I'm gonna owe him a favor at some point. These people, and the reason I came into this building, so when I hired Dan, he goes, you gotta come over. It was actually Chris DeMar who's in here with Bridge Technology. He said, you gotta come over to this building. 2 years I came over and I'm like, wow. First off, I don't need the energy, right? I don't need the passion. But I said, everyone's running around here. There's great brands in here. I said, cool shit going on. I knew Colin Day at iSims, and I said, I did some content with Colin, and I said, this is the real deal. What Ralph's doing over here. And I said, we got to put an office in here, not because I need to be in here, because I don't need it, but I wanted him to be in here. I wanted him to feel that energy. I want him to come in every day. And to Dan's credit, he's doing what my mentor told me to do, and one of my mentors told me to do, Shelby Bryan. He said, make it your business to know everybody in the room. Make it your business to stop and say hi and shake a hand and say, hey, it's Mike Luzio. And Dan does a really great job of that. I've seen that. He's like the mayor around here. I said, that's kind of how I am. So I tell everyone, make it your business to know everyone. You have no idea where that next break is going to come from. And never, ever screw anybody over, because it'll always come back. Because karma's a bitch, and that's not how I was raised. And that's not how I'm raising my kids.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, you can talk a little bit more, too, about this place in general, about being that kind of place you come in, go into the office and meet 10, 20 people on the walk to lunch.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, and that's how you and I met, right? Sitting up when we had my little desk instead of the office upstairs on the second floor, and you're still up there, but you have more desks now, which is good for you. But yeah, I mean, look, when you walk in the building, being here for a year and a half now, I think, you actually have to kind of pinch yourself sometimes to kind of look up at the skylight and remind yourself, oh shit, I'm in this awesome space. But having other people in the trenches with you, even if they're not working under the same brand name as you, is really important. And that's what the collab really provides. And just the whole atmosphere in here in general, too. Before I was working with Mike, or at the same time that I was working with Mike, I was in here working for another company, Vidya, right? So that was my first stint in the building. And in between going full-time with Mike and working with them, I was out of the building for about 3 months. And I was working from different Starbucks and everything, and it was awful. It was the worst. And then when he told me we were going to get an office in here, it was like, thank God. And I was back.
And what's funny? The interesting part about the first business that I had, I did it completely remote, which is insane and unheard of. I didn't have an office. Because we started building it, and I was getting people virtual, and technology was good enough where it was working. And I'm like, my business partner came in and goes, well, when do you get an office? I go, why? Screw it. Everything was from my basement. Now, look, I had Regis facilities all over the country if I needed to do meetings and what have you, similar to, what's the...
WeWork.
Similar to WeWork. the old WeWork. And the guys didn't figure it out. Had Regis facilities, but at the end of the day, we didn't have an office, right? So when Dan's like, hey man, I really get the vibe here. I'm like, just work out of your house. He's like, yeah, I'm with my parents, I'm like, and then when I came over here, I'm like, ugh. Even I was juiced, right? And I was energized. I saw what they were doing in the building, and I said, screw it, man. Let's get a collab and do your thing. And it's worked out perfectly, really. And then when investments come in here, they come down here and to look at us, and they walk in. He's got a nice, shiny room that we go in, and I bring another group of investors, and we all look, and it's great.
Shaved?
Huh?
Are you shaved?
Yes, of course, of course.
As far as hiring, how many employees do you have?
Yeah, so we have just 3 or 4 of us right now. I've got a group of advisors that are unpaid, but they'll get in on investments with us. They have other jobs. But the goal here, I've built a large company before. I have no desire to do it. People are like, go do it again. I'm like, well, why? Again, why do I need the stress? If I'm like, hey, I really want to golf this week, I'm gonna go golf. If I have to do something, if my kids have something, I have the ability to do that. So having a team in 3 or 4 years of less than 10, that's the goal. I've done it before, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't have a desire to do that anymore, and I don't have to, so I'm not there. I don't have this burning desire to turn what I did into $250 million. I'd like to turn a lot of these young entrepreneur companies and sell them and get a piece of them and have fun with them and go out and have a drink with them and say, this is why you're screwing up your company. This is the problem. This is what you're not doing right, or you're doing everything right.
So what are some of the things that you see? Is it ethics, hustle, work? What are some of the mistakes that you see sometimes happen?
Yeah, what makes a winner, what makes a loser?
Yeah, so listen, there's the adage, work smart, not hard, and my adage is do both. I mean, I worked my ass off, and I tried to work as smart as I could, right? I'm not downplaying my intelligence, but, I'm not the smartest guy. I was, I got an Altoona, right? Penn State didn't see anything in me, right? Penn State.
I keep that away. This is not the IQ bar test.
No, I think, look, hustle, grind. Look, one of the reasons I like the DeSico brothers who run Super Coffee is, I'll never forget this, we were writing a check in the city, and they're in a WeWork facility in the city. They've outgrown that in a bigger one now. And I said, let's go celebrate. Take you guys out and grab a drink. And these guys are 3 good-looking guys who are in the same shape. We don't know. What do you mean? We'll go get a cocktail. They're like, we don't know where the bars are. I go, how long have you been here? They go, 4 months. I go, oh my God, it's the greatest check I ever wrote. Because it's all encompassing. It's all encompassing.
But that last one with the asterisk, though, you must have been like, well, wait a second. What did I? No, I'm teasing, but yeah.
No, but they're great guys. But when they said they don't go to bars, I'm like, oh my God, should we give them more money? Because this is, again, I love finding the hustle and the grind. I'll give you an example of an investment we didn't make, okay? And we did some content.
Did or did not make?
What's that? Did not make.
Did not make.
I met this guy's technology company, and it's got a good company, and I liked it, and I knew I could really help his company because it kind of mirrored similar to what I did, and I knew I could help it. And I said, and this was on camera. I don't think we ever released this content because I felt bad for the guy. He said, he was a young CEO, and I said, give me your typical day. Because I know what my typical day was when I was running. It was like up at 4, quick workout, working, kiss my kids, working, kiss my kids to bed, working, and then sleeping for an hour. And I was waiting for the answer. And this was the answer. I get up around 7, low energy. I go for a run for about 45 minutes. Then I meet my girlfriend, Starbucks for coffee. I get going around 9:30. I go, okay. But then what? Because I'm like, where's he going with this? And he goes, well, then I work till about 5. Shut it down. I said, well, you're on your phone the rest of the night. He goes, no, from 6 to 9, I kind of shut it down and I had my own time. I go, I'm like looking out at my team. I'm like, is this really happening right now? And this guy's asking me for $250,000. I'm like, yeah, nice guy, good company. That guy will never succeed, in my opinion, unless something crazy happens. Lightning strikes. You're never going to succeed. You have to be willing and committed to being an entrepreneur and put everything you have into it. I mean that. And like, even when I got married and had kids, it was like, to her credit, she knew what she married. I mean, this was hustle and grind, and I'll be there as best I can. But if that call rings look, I'll never forget this. We're sitting at her father's house for, it must have been, I know exactly, it was Thanksgiving. And we were signing a huge deal with a company in Canada. And this guy was testing me. We were so close to signing the contract. Canadian company, obviously they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. John calls me on Thanksgiving, and he goes, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at my father-in-law's for Thanksgiving." This is like 2012. And he goes, "I have the contract ready. Do you want it? And you got to countersign it, but you can only get it back to me today." And I go, "No worries." I'm walking away from the table. I look right at him. I go, "Yeah, I got to go work." So I go in her office, Dad's office. We work in on it, faxes it through, I countersign it, put it through. All in, took about an hour, went back and finished the turkey. No one batted an eye because I said, "Look, this is business. This is a $50 million deal." And John calls me up after, and I'm not saying, just his name is John. John calls me up and goes, "I was testing you." I said, "Yeah, no shit, man. But I came through." He goes, "Yeah." That's the intensity level it takes. And the person you're with, your spouse, in my opinion, they got to be behind you, or, it's just, that's the life of an entrepreneur. That's it. Hustle and grind.
Dan's laughing. Are you laughing? Give me some behind the scenes of him. When is he quiet? Or when is he not quiet? But you know what I'm saying? Like, when is he like, is it before a meeting? Is it like?
Zero.
Okay.
No.
I'm
I've
setting him
never,
up.
it's
Dan, when are you loud? Mike, when is he loud?
No, Dan is like this. Dan and Chris and I work very well together. I think we all have, here's another thing, right? I had a business partner with the first company, IRG, and he was super smart, also a term, super smart, but you know what? He was completely different than me. He ran ops, and my God, I couldn't have run the business without him because we were really polar opposites. I mean, hustle and grind was there, but I couldn't run ops. Man, I was the face of the company. I was the sales. I was that guy, Dan and I, very different, but I play off him very well, He can make fun of me, I can make fun of him, but listen, life is about having a good time. And if I'm not having a good time, even when I was running the other business, you gotta have fun with what you're doing. Poking fun at him because he just started shaving last week. I mean, it's funny because it's true. He just started shaving last week. I mean, he could never. The thing you got going on there, that's never going on that face. Look at that face. Now, look, I'm always like this, and Dan knows this. Like, it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, and I'll be like, I'll think of an idea, and I'll like fire off a note, and like be like, "Why isn't anyone responding?" I'm like, "Well, it's 11:45. Dan's in his wrapper sleeping, and Chris has turned his phone off." But that's kind of a lot of times when shit comes to me when I'm watching the Mets lose to the Braves or lose to the Cubs last night, and I'm like, "Oh, no, they lost. We were up 3-0, now we lost 7-3. And I'm like, let me think and get manic on this investment and figure out how we can make it work.
And you also wrote an article about, what's his name, from Mad Money, right? That's when you figured out that you had that sleep thing?
What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much sleeping going on over at the Luzio house, because my brain's always work. I woke up this morning at like 3:45. I'm like, what time did I go to bed? 1? I'm like, I'm wide awake. All right.
Let's just get up and go.
Yeah.
Who's Chris, or what does Chris do?
So Chris is my business partner. Chris works alongside Dan, creating a ton of the content that we do. He's tremendous. He's the guy when I go, "This investment is phenomenal." He goes, "Did you think about this, this, and this?" I'm like, "No, Debbie Downer, I did not." But I need that because
I'm the tech guy.
No.
You went into the same voice.
Chris is and this is not a knock. I'm the eternal optimist. Chris is the eternal pessimist. When running a business, it's really good because if both people are optimists and they're like, "We can do it. I think we can. Let's do it. You need someone saying, "Hey, slow your roll here." Like this is not to knock the umbrella one. I love it, right? It's $80. It's expensive. Chris is like, I go to Manhattan, I get off the subway, I get the $4 one, I use it for once, it breaks, I'm good with it.
He's practical. He's like, yeah, right, yeah.
Right, he's smarter than me on that stuff, and I get that. And even though I still may invest in this umbrella company, I have to look at it and say, what percentage of people are going to pay that much for an umbrella? Even though it's the greatest umbrella, because you lose umbrellas. We all lose umbrellas. You go to a restaurant, you forget. I left that umbrella at a restaurant. It's actually a little bit more. I left it at a restaurant. I'm like, "Oh, it's down in Maryland." I go, "Oh shit, I gotta go back and get that because that's an $80 umbrella." You're like, "Please, no one take it." Meanwhile, this is the guy who's got money, but I'm like, that umbrella's $80, and I want to go back and get it. Like, I went and found it, it was like in a pile somewhere. I'm like, that thing's $80. If it's the $5 one you get off the subway, you're like, that thing sucks anyway.
But Chris would probably get annoyed with the $5.
Yeah, that's right.
He would get annoyed with
That's correct.
To be fair, if you set up the app, you wouldn't, when you walked away, it would have sent you a notification.
Yeah, like there's an app with the umbrella. Like, I'll be honest too. I don't like doing much. And let me get that right.
It's not like doing much.
I don't like doing
No. It's like 2 hours a night. I don't like doing that.
No, like tasks that seem to me like, so if you think about Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about a lot how find that thing you're really, really good at and pretty much focus all your energy and surround yourself with people who are comfortable doing the things that you don't like to do, and maybe they're passionate. Like what Dan does on the social media side and Instagram and all this stuff. Like I don't like doing any of that. Like like chatting and shit like that.
You old grump,
Yeah, right. But that's how he grew up. That's not how I grew up. So let him do it because he
if
loves
I gave
it.
you 200 phone numbers that you could cold call that were vetted right now, you'd be on that in 2 seconds.
In a second.
Yeah, Dan
Boom,
would look at you like, I got a text.
That's right, because you want to go close a deal or figure that out? That's my thing. You want me to go to dinner and build a relationship and build a deep relationship? I think breaking bread is huge. I'm still of the mindset that people still buy from people. Like I get this world, I do. That's why I'm in this world, right? I understand we're growing a brand using social media, but at the end of the day, I still like this human interaction, having a drink, sharing having a steak, whatever that is. I think there's something there to that and building that rapport. And I don't think that's going away. I think it's lost itself a little bit, but it's never going to go away.
Big difference between an online relationship and a face-to-face relationship.
Huge. Look, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe in 15 years we're going to look at this and be like, he was so fucking wrong. But I don't think so, because I still believe this. Like even coming out of this, you guys are good guys. I'm like, oh, we should grab a drink. Like we should. But then I'll sit with somebody and be like, ugh, I don't want to sit with that guy ever again. Make sense?
Do you, and you proclaimed it yourself, and obviously every person has. Have you ever been in meetings or sat down and said, let me just take a step back. Is that something that you think about consciously, or?
So early on in my career, when I was, his age or a little older.
And I don't mean self-control, but you understand what I'm saying.
Totally. Listen, look.
He who speaks last, like.
I totally agree. There were times even running the company and they were like, we got a meeting in Tennessee. And I'm like, oh, I'll be there. I don't know.
Did they tell you the time? Like it started at 9, but they told you to be there at 9:30?
Yeah. That did not happen.
Like,
No, but there was one time when they were like, you can't come to this. Because the guy actually said, don't be sending some Yankee down here from up north trying to close us. And this is the only meeting I ever backed out of. And we didn't win that deal, right?
Okay.
I still believe that we could have if I went down there because I could have broke bread.
I'd have closed it.
Yeah, I'd have got him. No, I think, there's a time and a place. People think it's a lot of talking for me, but he knows this by simply. I listen like crazy. Like when I'm looking at investment, I'm getting manic. I'm taking notes. I'm like, damn, think of this. And I'm just like crazy manic on it. So there's a time and a place, but I don't apologize for who I am. I learned that early on. This is me. You like me or you don't, and take it or leave it. I'm going to be the loudest guy in the room.
But I understand that.
Yep.
I'm wondering you yourself, inside, internally. Do you ever say to yourself, shit, I just should have just.
shut my mouth.
Or do you just, and I'm not saying that you should do that, but I just wonder, because I talk.
Yeah.
And sometimes, no, I do, but like in truth, like at home, I'm more reserved.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, I just need to make sure that I don't want to say a protocol, but I have to have respect for the other person, that I don't want to bully them into a conversation where they think I'm just trying to take over. Even on the podcast.
Yeah.
I try to, balance it out. He's quieter, and the other guy, Mike, he's in the middle. He's Canadian, so that's fine.
He's Canadian.
He's
He's a Canuck.
he's
very well
actually
mannered.
played
Yeah, exactly.
this far
Minor
away from
league
the
hockey.
NHL.
Oh, really?
He got concussed, yeah.
Okay.
But that's it. Like, I just wonder, like, you battle with that a little bit.
Look, I look.
Maybe with your wife. Maybe you should. When you learned that from your wife. Don't tell you.
Yeah, look, I think there's a time and a place. You got to know the room and the audience that you're playing to, and I mean a board meeting or a meeting with whatever.
Yeah.
You know when, hey, less is more or more is less. I know in a deal, if I want to bull rush the deal, I can figure it out real quick. If I can steamroll the person, look, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I know when I got it, and I know when I got to pull back the reins, or I know when I've got a really analytical person sitting across the table from me, and I gotta use somewhat of the brain I have.
You got to use the sabermetrics.
Yes, well, the Altoona brain that I have. I needed to use the Altoona brain.
Dan, for you,
Yeah.
because of just what it seems like for people hearing, are you the opposite, where you feel like sometimes I should be more outspoken, or I should provide my opinion? Because I know the boss is here, but like there are certain balances that you're learning too. Not to say that you should speak, I'm not saying it that way, but like, how do you feel like at a sales meeting? Are you more reserved and taking it in, you're getting more comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so it depends, right, on who's in the room. So obviously when Mike's in the room, right, he's going to do it better than me because he's been doing it for 20 plus years.
Okay.
And, I also want to sit in and take in as much as possible.
Sure.
Now, do I add my 2 cents? Absolutely, because
Okay.
I believe that I have value to add in those meetings. And so I'm not afraid to step up and say something when I feel, that
And
it's
he
appropriate.
did, and he should. When you're looking at investments, he knows, I walk into that collab space, let's say it's a product, I walk up to every person, I'm like, drink this, try this, eat this, do this, and they're like, what is this guy doing? But I want to see their natural reactions. Like, when Dan steps up in a meeting and makes a point, I'd be like, it's a great point, I didn't think of that. I mean, as a leader, I think, as an entrepreneur, you have to be open to collaboration. If you think you're the smartest guy in the room, you've lost, right? I know that there are things I'm really good at and things I'm terrible at. Right? His input is invaluable. Female's input is invaluable. Like, I think I'm an alpha male. Like, I have to let other people talk. And I did that with my last company. And Dan's invaluable to some of these investments that we bring in, because he's 24.
Dan and I had a conversation a while back about his sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this?
I do, yeah.
He was battling, like, I should go, and I'm like, why are you weighing so much guilt or thought process on this? Mm-hmm. If you sleep 9 hours and that's what you need, then you sleep 9 hours.
That's right.
Don't listen to your boss over there who says he sleeps for an hour. He's sneaking naps here and there. Don't give him he's in his 40s. He's sleeping 2 hours a night, and he doesn't drink coffee. So, but he was like, we were talking about that, and I'm like, dude, like, whatever you want. Don't make that an issue. Now, where are you? Have you come to terms with this? No, and I asked you, I said, what are you doing? Like, it got weird, but not weird. But like, what are you doing late at night? And he's like,
what are you doing late at night?
What are you doing?
Where are you later? Where are you tonight?
Now, your boss might not want to hear this because maybe you're lying to him, but you're like, I binge on like Netflix and stuff like that while I'm working and stuff, and then it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So where are you? Because there's a lot of people who believe that people who might be like Mike sleeps 40 minutes in 24 hours. Now, he might be able to do that one night, but as you get a little bit older, it starts, the recuperation process is a little bit different. So your work schedule is during the day primarily. I know you're working at 9, I see you here late.
Yeah.
But where are you with the sleep world? Have you settled?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I've put kind of boundaries in place where it's like, if I know what my body needs, right?
Okay.
I'm different than Mike, I'm different than, but at the end of the day, if something's going to, I have a regular sleep schedule now, 7 hours is probably what I need, but if someone's going to require it, if there's a late email that comes through and it's like, okay, this is out of the ordinary, we got to jump on this, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm on it.
And the reason I'm saying is there seems to be an unhealthy perception that people who are in your age bracket look at people who are successful in our age bracket and think that I have to sleep 3 hours a night. Now, it can happen because you can recuperate, even though you can't shave apparently, you can do it better than me. You can recuperate.
Well, he's got more practice on the head than I do.
I got you. I'm in the same world. That's why I don't need an umbrella, just fall right. But I say that because, I forget, I think it was Mike that brought it up.
Talked about it on the show.
Yeah, that he's like, does Gary sleep or anything? Vanish I sleep? I'm like, no, he sleeps 7 to 8 hours, 6 to 7 hours. But there's this perception that you have to do this every night. So when we talked about it, it made me think of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found your sleep.
No, yeah.
your
Look,
sleep
I found a pattern that works for me, and I think that's what everybody needs to do.
Okay.
But I will say this is interesting. So early on when I had Dan, and this isn't a millennial thing, but Dan had a
C-section or natural?
Yeah, I had Dan naturally.
Okay, yeah.
And full grown too.
Full grown.
Yeah, okay.
Full grown. It was unbelievable. He came out all
Let's not get too
127
weird.
pounds.
Okay.
So he would
That visual.
happens all the time.
And break and go.
So Dan would come to meetings like 4 minutes late,
Yeah.
5 minutes late, 7 minutes late. I'm like, I am an on-time guy, like military, like you better be there 10 minutes early.
I was 6 minutes late.
Right? Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I was pretty pissed. Taking up my time. Remember, Spicoli says, if you're here and I'm here, isn't this our time?
Yes. Buy a pizza for the whole class. Yeah.
So, and I said, Dan, listen to me. Ain't gonna fly, man. Ain't gonna fly. And Dan would meet me at my house. We'd be going to meetings. He'd drive. There were times I would just leave. And like he'd be passing me on the road. I'd go, see ya, you could drive your own car. And he'd be like, okay, you better learn. And to his credit, it took him about a month. He figured it out. And maybe that was his thing. But my thing, being the boss, is get your shit there on time. Be respectful of other people's time. Be respectful of my time. And I'll be respectful of your time, right? So I understood it was interesting. True or false?
No, absolutely true. 100%.
And I really would pass him. Like he'd be driving. I'd be like, bye. He'd be like, where you go?
Okay. He had
Okay.
a Porsche. He was driving like
2009 Honda Accord.
He had a max speed of 45 in that thing. He was trying to get
He got like Flintstones going on that thing.
We've all been there.
He got a new car though.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
What'd you get? Kia Sportage? What was it?
No, Mazda 3, hatchback.
There you go.
The hatchback.
Puts the bodies in the back.
Kevin, did you get a new car?
No, man.
No. All the employees got new cars, but you don't?
Yeah.
That's all right.
No, we did actually. We just got a Jeep.
Cheap.
Tom's Ford didn't hook you up?
No, not yet. Not yet. No, we were thinking about it, going through them to get a car, but we ended up getting a Jeep for my fiance. And
Oh, nice.
Still rocking the
Yeah,
Challenger.
how's the wedding going?
Oh, it's going good.
Yeah, he's getting married.
You're getting married.
Oh, yeah, it's been an
Married.
ongoing drama through this whole podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
since we started the podcast was like when I decided to get engaged. And
He told me he was getting married. I'm like, okay, well, we can talk about this every time.
so he brings it up, and he likes to see how many shades of red I get on camera.
We're close.
So, yeah.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, but you're on top of your stuff, though.
Yeah.
You got everything done in like 2 months.
End
You
of
didn't do
July.
shit. What are you talking about?
I contributed. No, we
You
actually
attended at best.
we were talking about actually, strangely enough, last night, how everyone says, "Oh, planning a wedding is so difficult." And we're looking at each other like, "Why the hell was it so difficult?" For
No
us-
man has ever said, why is this difficult?
No,
Because
no.
I got you.
She admitted it too.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. I feel like she's very structured in what she does. That whole thing about feeding off of
Sure.
your partner in business or in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
relationship. She's meticulous. She's structured. I'm all over the freaking place.
Yep.
But I'm decisive.
Yeah,
and
you can
I'm-
make decisions.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Yes. So she'll outline 3 or 4 things and say, choose. I'll take one glance. That one, done.
Yeah.
And I think that we've just plowed through everything, real quick. Yeah, the whole planning took like a week, and every time we have a meeting, it just goes smooth, and we haven't had any drama with it. And I think it's being able to balance with the partner, and then when time comes to pull the trigger, you just gotta pull.
Well, I mean, the parallel to that in business is, and I'm a big proponent, I can make a decision. Like, you put something in front of me, there's no waffling, right? And I think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, or what have you got to be able to go, I'm sticking to this. I believe in this. Even if it's the wrong decision, you got to be able to make it. There is no flip-flopping ever.
Pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple, no pineapple on pizza.
My man.
Yep.
No
My man. Dan?
You're allowed to
No.
stay.
God.
No? It's the Canadian. He's the only one who's like the West Coast, all this.
And the Hawaiians. It's called Hawaiian pizza. They put ham on that too.
Dan goes, no, it's the Hawaiians. The Hawaiians like it. The
What they do,
pineapple's-
it's
the
called
Hawaiians like
pineapple on
it.
spam and pineapple on pizza. It's
You
the
are-
most disgusting thing.
It's okay, Mom. It's okay. We'll bring you along. It's sort of like saying that
Our 3 Hawaiian listeners.
that chicken parm started in Italy. It didn't.
No, it didn't. It's an American Italian.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a total, yes.
Look, food I'll get
Hawaiians
myself
like
about.
pineapples.
That'll get me energy.
Now he's amped up. So
I am.
Damn you and
But
you.
food, I'm a
Parm.
We never talk religion or politics or Hawaiians. So, Dan, you just alienated their audience and
Yes,
us.
yes. No, I alienated us audience a long time ago. There's 3 lost episodes, which are the first 3, and it's just me, Kevin, and Mike, and we're talking for an hour each one. These guys are just like, I don't want that. And they're new to podcasting. I've been doing podcasts
Yeah.
11 years now. I'm like, this is fucking gold. Like, it's gold. So it's hidden. You can't find it. And I bring it up every once in a while because I want people to go sneak and find it. It's hard to find, but I'm like, that's gold. Like, you guys had no idea what you were doing. We were talking and I was figuring it all out. I still have all the originals, of course, and I will leak it out at some point. Just the clips. Kevin will be like, when did I say that? I'll be like, you said it in episode 2 where nobody heard it.
Yeah, we're like, F this, F that, just 3 guys bullshitting in a room.
They were very raw. But then all of a sudden we got a guest. I think who was someone.
We
one of our-
decided, we're going to bring on some guests.
Yes. Kevin, we did the episode. Kevin got after that was like doing push-ups, was like amped. He's like,
I needed that guest energy.
blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so I'm not enough for you, Kevin? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And ever since then, he's all like amped in. He's got the notes. He's on YouTube and the whole thing. I'm like, this is fantastic. If I could get my other podcast guys to do it on the other one, it'd be great.
Who's your favorite guest so far?
Here?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that you guys did not come close to the women. The 3 ladies that we had on here. No, I'm kidding around. They were no. You guys are great. But the ladies, Kelly from Workwave. I mean, they all were wonderful. Partially because I was on the podcast, but besides that, no, they brought it. We talked about honest stuff. Like we talked about how women deal with certain stuff, like getting up in the morning. They have to do 10 things before we have to do one thing,
Right.
and the pressures of that with Jenna from Vidya. Lauren about her pop-up store. They've been great. I mean, the guys have been okay.
Yeah, yeah.
They
I think
have.
it was also a different perspective, right? And I think anytime, they could share their own perspective, because, we're three guys,
Yeah.
four guys
Yeah.
sitting around right now, and, when we talk about something, we're talking sports, or we're talking
Yeah.
business, like, we get that.
Yeah.
You know what we talked about that was interesting? We talked about how, like, when the guys say, let's go golfing, right? We're business, like Trump even talks about it,
Yep.
right? And I think that women hear that in the business world, and they think that's, like, still the guys' club type.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
we talked about Top Golf. how
Sure,
it's a little
sure.
bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And growing up with women, having a daughter, having my mom basically live with us, my wife, I'm like Oprah Winfrey almost. Like, I'm very comfortable with it. All that stuff, but it's still fascinating to hear the
Sure.
perspectives of a 25-year-old female versus, my wife who, she's younger, but however old she is, and the different
Yeah.
perspective they have in business. She works in corporate for a major company, and, hearing like Kelly who works for WorkWave, and she's been there 21 years.
Yep.
So she's seen the whole transition of how it is.
Absolutely.
And
So-
Lauren's like a budding fashion
I mean,
entrepreneur. so
Lauren
it's-
just like gets a pop-up store and is just, so it's fascinating to see all the dynamics of it.
Sure.
And I know we've had other people, even Alicia from JGS Insurance, right? How she walked in and she's like, I'm the marketing person for this company, and she's kind of going in what seemed like a male-dominated
Sure.
type. So to just see the different values.
Absolutely, absolutely.
To the point where my other podcast, we added a co-host, Aggie. We had, in 11 years, we had 2 females on the whole time.
Is that right?
And I'm in the wedding world. I come from the background of the wedding world. It never clicked. But
Yeah.
you know what it was? In the wedding world, it's male dominated.
Yeah.
It's female centric client.
Yeah.
But male dominated.
Sure.
And over the times, I'm just thinking that. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, even for someone who's very aware like me,
Yeah.
of just like, if we're not at the point of where like everybody gets paid equally, then I'm done with you.
Yep.
I did it myself and not even realizing it,
Sure,
you know.
sure.
So
No, that's
it's
interesting.
fascinating. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, I found my inner Oprah. Yeah. Gail, what do you think?
You felt very close with our female
So I
guest.
see the way you distracted from the weddings and shit. Okay, so that's fine. Any closing websites, social media, man?
Plug time.
Yeah, at Michael Luzio and on Instagram, and Mike Luzio on LinkedIn. Those are our 2 main
Yeah,
places. And
yeah.
the LVEgroup.com.
L.
LVE.
What does it stand for again?
Luzio versus everybody.
Okay, well, there's some therapy there. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Episode 22 is in the can. See ya. Bye.